When 17-year-old Brittany Wells went to visit her boyfriend Shannon Cade at his mom's apartment, she didn't expect the tragic turn of events that unfolded. Wells was an 11th grader at the Clarkston High School in Georgia, where she was a member of the Technology Students of America. She could be described as a vibrant and ambitious teenager who enjoys writing poems and talking about her little sister. She treasured the bond between them. Her refusal to partake in Cade's sexual advance was the motivating factor in the act of violence that took her life that day. Her 7-year-old sister would not get to see her again. On January 14th, the life of Brittany Wells came to an abrupt end. It is alleged that her 17-year-old boyfriend strangled her to death in his apartment on Smith Street. Her family grew concerned when Brittany didn't return home that day. On the morning of January 15th, Stephanie Thornton was alerted by a relative to the news broadcast of a body found in a dumpster. When she turned on her TV and saw the dumpster, Stephanie knew it was her niece, her goddaughter. Everything in her gut told her it was Brittany. Just after midnight on January 15th, police arrived at the DeKalb apartment complex following an anonymous tip. Here, they found the body of Brittany Wells. Police arrested Shannon Cade in connection with her death. Cade told police that Brittany charged at him with a knife. Investigators theorized that the teenager willingly entered Cade's residence, but was later held against her will, before the struggle for her life ensued. It appeared that Cade lived with his mom and cousin, who were not present when the incident transpired. However, Cade's friend from the apartment complex was in the apartment at the time. He was a frequent visitor. Police said 14-year-old Hwang, who helped Cade dispose of Wells's body, has been charged as a juvenile with concealing a death. Wells' family wasn't aware of the relationship between Cade and Brittany. The news came as a surprise to them. In their opinion, they had family dinner every month. If Cade was in the picture, they would have expected to see him there. At the trial, Ha testified that Cade told him that Brittany had threatened to charge them with rape. Cade then choked the victim until she stopped moving. With help from Ha, the teens set out to dispose of her body. Cade removed Wells' clothes. He used pine sol to wipe her body in pursuit of removing any fingerprint. A plastic bag was tied over her head, and her body was wrapped in a blanket and carried to the dumpster on the premises. When Cade's cousin, Thaddeus Cade, came home, both teens told him about what had happened. He checked the dumpster, and upon seeing that their story was true, he called his sister, who immediately notified police. As to Shannon's claim of Brittany charging at him with a knife before her death, Ha testified that the victim did not threaten Cade with a knife, though he thought she had one. Cade did not appear to have any defensive wounds when he was arrested. Investigators were unable to find a knife. Those who knew Brittany saw her as just a nice all-around person and someone who never tried to pick a fight and never tried to have any trouble. Her principal and teachers saw a girl with a bright future ahead of her. As for the verdict of the trial, the jury found Cade guilty of malice and felony murder, aggravated assault, and concealing a death. The felony murder charge was vacated, and the malice, murder, and aggravated assault charges were merged. This resulted in a life sentence plus a consecutive 10 years for concealing the death of another. Cade's motion for a new trial was denied. Clarkston Police Chief Tony Scipio, whose department helped pay for Brittany's funeral, saw the whole thing as a tragedy. You have a 17-year-old victim. Then you have a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old perpetrator, said Scipio. In actuality, you haven't lost one life, you've lost 3.